And what was the inspiration to come back to that?
Well, it was a mixture. It was actually when you make films, they fade. Some of them fade very quickly when they're a flop, and they just disappear. And then some of them fade, even when they're a hit, they just fade away. But this one didn't. 28 days later, and I kept getting invited to screenings, and I went because to help support cinema, and I'd do a Q&A after them, but they weren't nostalgic. They were like vibrant. They were like, oh bloody hell. And the film didn't feel like it had aged. It was like, and so Alex and I began to talk about, could we do something else about it? And so we came up with this idea, and it was actually in cahoots with Cillian Murphy. So Kill, who's in the first film, will eventually appear. We decided to make 3 films, 2 of which we've shot and the third of which we're trying to raise the money for. And the first film, as you've seen, I think, doesn't feature him at all, except as a producer. But at the end of the second film, in the way that Jack O'Connell appears at the end of this film as a character, Cillian does that at the end of the second film. And then the third film is his film. So it was a bribe to get financiers to consider something ridiculous like a trilogy about a completely British landscape with just with nobody American in it, and Cillian Murphy is the pocket of gold at the end of it, at the end of the rainbow, you know. So that's what we used him for, and he was delighted to be able to use like that. So that's what we're attempting to do, and